Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to the third edition of the Engineer Power Talk sessions brought to you by Engineer 2021. I'm Jason Lim here and I'll be the MC for these sessions. I know it's a busy week right now, and at this hour, I want to congratulate you for being here because we believe that there's no better time than right now to relook into the outlook for 2021. Right? Some of you who have been following our talk sessions, you may remember that we started off our first Power Talk sessions back on 12th January 2021. And yes, there was the one day before MCO 2.0 hit us. And once again, today is our sessions. And it's also a day before MCO 3.0 for those who are right now in KL. But most importantly and most crucially is that no matter rain or shine or wherever you are, let's play our part together as a responsible citizen to stay vigilant and wear our mask at all times. And together we can win this battle. Okay, for those of you who have just tuned in onto our Facebook Live, just let me know so that I know that you guys are ready for today's very exciting session that we have laid out for you guys. Just in the Facebook chat, just say hello. Okay, let me know that you are there so that we are ready to roll these sessions. Okay, so I see Lee Ken Yu, I see Brendan, I see Linda, I see Engineer Yao. Come on, shower me with your hello so that I know you guys are ready for today's sessions. Okay, for those of you new to these Power Talk sessions, Engineer Power Talk session is a series of Power Talk where basically we want to gather the industry leaders and experts to share as well as to discuss some of the hot topics and trends. And for these sessions, we are very excited to have this infrastructure outlook as our main topic. So this Power Talk is brought to you by Engineer 2021, which is Malaysia's first engineering exhibition and convention scheduled to take place this year from 8 to 11 September at Kuala Lumpur Convention Center. Engineer 2021 is jointly organized by IEM and CIS as we strive towards becoming the premier business event for the engineering community. Let us show you a short video that we have prepared for you so that you know how you'll be able to leverage on this one and only one engineering business event for your business. Let us
Engineer 2021, an event of IEM Convention, will be the flagship event for the region's engineering professionals and community. It is IEM's hope that this hybrid exhibition platform will complement our role to uplift the industry and to prepare our profession and talents for the future of engineering. Engineer 2021 aims to build on friendships, leverage on partnerships, and forge collaboration for the fraternity as we come together towards recovery from the after effect of the global pandemic. At IEM, we highly welcome our local and international associates and industry friends together and discover the latest technologies, innovation, and solutions beyond borders. Together, let us contribute towards the growth and success of Engineer 2021, the engineering gateway to ASEAN.
Yes, yes, yes. We are as excited as you are with Engineer 2021, an event of IEM convention. Okay, people, for those who are watching this live right now, I need to have more love from you guys, okay? I just want to welcome Poon Yin, Surain, Kanaparan. For those of you who are watching this live right now, just do one thing, tag your friends and share this. Tell them that, you need to be here. Don't miss out, all right? Because there's no better time than right now to find out and as well as to relook into the outlook for 2021, especially for you who are in the civil or infrastructure industry. All right, people, just share with your friends. I just want to welcome Poon Yin, Surain, Elisha, Joyce, Fu Walao, Yang Yang, SK Yong, Ong Bi Sun, Nazlin, Fong Wei Pian, Jess Lim, Engineer David, as well as Engineer Yan Kwan. Okay, everybody, so are you guys ready for today's sessions? Okay, give me a love, give me a like, whatever that you guys want to do on the Facebook Live. So when you stay till the end of today's Power Talk, you will discover these three main things. Number one, you will know the development updates on the infrastructure projects from JPS. You also know the challenges in the industry for 2021 and beyond. And most importantly, you'll be able to discover the overall outlook, future trends, and some of the recently announced mega projects. Okay, I hope I give you some little teaser. So if you have any questions that you'd like to discover or you want to direct to our panelists, what you can do is just you can type it in our comment at a Facebook Live, and we'll be answering them at the end of these sessions. Our topic for today is Infrastructure Outlook 2021, and we are very honored to have two special guests as today's panelists. Firstly, we have Engineer Ratna Raja, Deputy Director of Department of Irrigation and Drainage, Federal Territory of Kuala Lumpur, short for JPS. We also have Mr. Ng Hao Wei, Executive Director of Gamuda Engineering, Sdn Bhd. Okay, give us a virtual round of applause. Okay, give me a like or whatever that you want to do, love anything. In addition, this session is moderated by Engineer Dr. Lee Yun Fook, Executive Director of Sepakat Setia Berunding, Sdn Bhd. Let me share a quick background to introduce our moderator for today's sessions. Engineer Dr. Lee graduated from UTM with Bachelor of Civil Engineering with a first-class honor, as well as a Master of Engineering. He started his career with Sepakat Setia Berunding, Sdn Bhd as a graduate engineer in year 2005, and today he is the Executive Director. Engineer Dr. Lee obtained his Doctor of Engineering from UTM in 2016. He specialized in civil infrastructure and environmental projects such as the master infrastructure work in mixed development projects, sanitary landfills, as well as the sewerage projects. He is a professional engineer with practicing certificate from BEM, fellow at IEM and AAET, a qualified person from SPAN, SPAN, certified professional for erosion and sediment control, Green Building Index facilitator, and a member of ACEM and MWA. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, can you shower me your love as well as your love to Engineer Dr. Lee, and let us bring in Engineer Dr. Lee, our moderator for today.
Hi, Jason. Thank you very much for the introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Engineer Power Talk today on Infrastructure Outlook 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, last year, 2020 was a very challenging year to the infrastructure industry due to the pandemic. The economic was slowed down, and then there are not many projects was rolled out by the government. But this year, in 2021, we have seen some sign of improvement whereby our government has announced several infrastructure projects, such as the Klang Valley MRT Line 3 and the Singapore JB RTS project, the rapid transit. And also we have heard about Kuching Sarawak ART, automated rapid transit project. Besides that, we have observed that the government agencies such as JKR and JPS has been very active recently in calling out a lot of tenders. So to me, I look at all this as a positive sign of recovery, which is a good news to the industry. To discuss further on this topic today, we are very honored to have invited two panelists to share their view and their thoughts on today's topic. And after that, we will move on to a forum session for the Q&A. So to our audience, please feel free to drop your question at the comment section and to whom you address to the question. Okay, now allow me to introduce our first panelist, Engineer Ratna Raja, graduated from USM with a bachelor degree in civil engineering, and he subsequently obtained his master degree in water resources engineering in UPM. And Engineer Ratna has been attached with JPS since 1999. Currently, he is the Deputy Director of JPS KL. And Engineer Ratna is also a registered professional engineer with a practicing certificate, and he is also a certified professional in erosion and sediment control. In his more than 20 years experience with JPS, Engineer Ratna has specialized in hydrology, in urban drainage, in river engineering, and also flood mitigation project, as well as project management. Without further ado, I would like to invite Engineer Ratna to join me on screen.
Thank you.
Hi, Engineer Ratna. I pass the floor to you.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction, Dr. Lee. Hi, all. I'm here today to present on digitalization initiatives and vision by JPS. My presentation will touch on digital technologies initiatives in line with IR 4.0 to effectively manage floods, water resources, and the entire engineering project lifecycle. Future and vision of JPS, and also what do JPS expect and our expectations from the industry players or industry experts. My slide on today is basically on three key initiatives that JPS is currently implementing. First, under the water resources management, we have introduced National Water Balance Management System. Why? This is to help us in providing warnings to the public on drought 14 days ahead. We are also capable of predicting drought 2 months earlier. So using all this digital wide basin digital and integrated modeling system, we are capable of doing this. And also by having this real-time and digital decision support system for water resources management, it can help us in order to look at water scarce, and in the event of water emergency occurs, water shortage emergency occurs, we can look into water transfer and etc. On the next initiative that we are doing under flood forecasting is National Flood Forecasting and Warning System. This is an innovative solution for us to give early warning to targeted areas where flood is 2 days ahead of a flood occurrence. This is also done by digital catchment, wide hydrology and hydraulic model that provides real-time flood forecast and warning to the public. It uses the National Telemetry Network, radar data and other rainfall forecasts as inputs. You see, by using application of AI and big data and assimilation of atmospheric modeling, we can predict rainfall and also flood and droughts. All this will be in will be a good thing for the country, for the nation, in order to overcome a lot of flood losses, in loss of lives, damages to property. No, it's not always about flood mitigation projects. It also should be non-structural aspects of it, which is about giving notice and warning in advance, so that people can do their prepared, they can do their preparation to move to higher ground, or to save their properties, or to do whatever flood protection that they can do around their properties. The most important and the latest thing that we are doing is, for the entire whole life cycle of a project, we are applying digital engineering in the phases of design, construction, until the operation and maintenance of the structures. See, what is it about? It's about having formulate and design of water resources schemes using comprehensive digital and numerical modeling, application of geographical information system for master planning, design, and asset inventory, 3D reality capture and survey, including of aerial drones and terrestrial laser scanning. This will help us to reduce the time of acquiring data by the conventional way of engineering survey on ground. No, and then I will have a slide on this implementation of cloud-based project information management and coordination using common data environment. I will let you know at what status is it in JPS in applying this cloud-based project information management. We are also looking into applying 3D building information modeling, or in short form BIM. Everybody, I know you have heard of it, for concept design and to 3D detailed design. I will have slides on this to show where successfully one of the consultant have produced. I will show that video to you all later in my slides. Application of 3D BIM for automation of quantity and cost estimation, design, construction, coordination, assets, operation, and maintenance. So currently we are testing and progressively rolling out various digital engineering technologies, including 3D reality capture using aerial drones, integration of hydrological and hydraulic modeling with BIM, 3D BIM design, and VR workflows. The vision is to spearhead and roll out various BIM and 3D technologies, to enhance quality and add value through virtual design and construction coordination planning, reduce redundant and costly reworks, enhance stakeholder engagement through immersive 3D virtual reality and visualization, save cost and time for water engineering projects throughout the whole project life cycle, and to support the digital transformation for the water industry. So as I said, cloud-based project information management and common data environment, it starts from survey and data collection, design simulation and water resources system, followed by concept engineering design, detail engineering design, construction and operation and maintenance. In JPS, the green circle shows that we have successfully implemented, whereby 3D LiDAR survey, 2D aerial drone image video capture, 3D aerial drone photograph parametric survey. We are in the process. Integrated now in design, we have gone up to 3D integrated of 1D, 3D, 3D hydrological and hydraulic modeling, water resources model simulation, using real-time digital hydraulic network and radar data, digital on concept engineering and design. We are already implementing GIS for our planning and analysis. We have also got under detailed design engineering, we have gone up to the integration of 3D reality capture data for design. I'll show you in the following slides on this. And in construction, we are looking into 3D drone photogrammetry survey and laser scanning. And we have currently applied together with DBCAL in one of the projects. And lastly, about operation and maintenance, which completes the whole engineering project life cycle. is digital asset inventory using 3D and 3D GIS, and to monitor the maintenance schedule and etc. So the evolution of the entire design, as you see, from 2010, from 3D GIS and modeling of smart tunnel, and in 2017 we started to use 2D drone imagery and videography. In 2018 we have started with 3D drone photogrammetry and reality capture, together with ortho mosaic, digital surface model, digital terrain model, and contour lines using the both digital surface model and digital terrain model. And last year we have already started to use integration of flood modeling with 3D beam. I'll show you in the next slides. As you can see, this is something the latest product by together with working together with DBKL. And this was developed by our local engineer and specialist expert, engineer Chok Ho Seng. He's currently attached to Renhill, heading the water resources sector under in Renhill, Bersekutu. And this is what we are looking at. No, he has got vast experience in, if I'm not mistaken, in about 6 overseas countries. He have been headhunted till to get his expertise on this modeling. This is the way forward for the future. In this, by having developed this integrating 3D LiDAR data, 3D drone survey, and terrestrial laser scanning helps us to uh, produce this kind of simulation whereby we can identify and look at what are the best structural measures and the non-structural measures can be introduced to solve the flooding problems. The red line shows that that's the catchment boundary. The light blue showing the drainage lines, and then these are the 100-year. The navy blue shows the 100-year ARI simulation showing the flooded or inundated area. So as we introduce structural measures, we can look at how we can reduce the flooding or control at source approach. I will touch on all that later. So this is how we will do our concept design of hydraulic structures using 3D drone reality capture and 3D beam modeling. If you look at here, by capturing the 3D reality capture using drones and then together with conventional 2D river topo survey drawings and 3D beam model, we can look at the entire thing merged into a 3D reality model used for 3D concept design optioneering. So that's option one, option two, and this will be the great way for you to present to your top management, looking at what will be the best solution for that particular matters or the flooding, to solve the flooding issue at a particular area. Okay, and then we also can introduce all this experience in virtually in 3D throughout the constructing, while constructing it or before constructing it, how it's going to be. Okay, continuous refinement of design virtually in 3D before constructing it. All this will save a lot of costs to the government and also to the industry players. Okay, other current initiatives that we are doing is progressively rolling out 3D aerial drone survey and beam design requirement in recent project tenders. We are exposing and upskilling staffs on 3D digital engineering and building information modeling design workflows. We support and contribute to the implementation of 3D digital engineering and beam initiative in local industry. We are continuously testing and implementing digital engineering beam technologies in various aspects of project lifecycle by working collaboratively with other agencies and private sector. And this will be the future and vision of JPS, to continuously roll out various digital engineering and beam technologies throughout the whole design construction spectrum for the whole project lifecycle, to integrate digital numerical hydrology and hydraulic model simulation technologies with 3D GIS and 3D beam technologies. This is the most important now. Apply AI and big data workflow automation to various processes in water modeling management and decision support as well as in other design construction aspect of water project. This will help the river basin managers to make a more informed decision when it comes to pressing the button to open the floodgate or not open the floodgate or to release water, etc. This will help a lot in water for water managers. Continuously to support and upskill the industry to adopt digital engineering, BEAM, IR 4.0 to transform the design of the construction industry. This is something which no one can avoid. We have to embrace technology and start to use it to help to better deliver the outcomes, to better the system in we providing information to the public, to fast to it's all about speed. How fast can you give information to the public to be prepared and all that. So achieve better and more suitable water project for the nation through implementation of digital engineering, BEAM and IR4 technologies. Lastly, on the support from industry experts, we would like to see adoption of digital engineering and BEAM needs to be a top-down commitment. It should be having a structured and coordinated BEAM DE framework standards policy for design construction industry measure. For example, in Singapore, they say they already have rolled out their DE and BEAM policies 10 years ago. So we have a lot of catching up to do. And we need it requires upskilling of staff and investment in hardware and software. So many are used to conventional ways of working. So it's time to change, my friends. Government to work closely and collaboratively with private sector research institution to continuously improve the implementation of the technology and ways to make this software and hardware cheaper. Okay, industry to continuously learn from other countries whom have successfully implemented DEBM and apply them locally. Okay, that's all, Engineer Lee. I would like to pass back to you the floor. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ratna, for the great sharing. So from what the Engineer Ratna has shared, we are very impressed to see that with JPS vision to adopt this Industrial Revolution 4.0 by having this 3D modeling and building information modeling and also the geographic information system, etc. So I believe with such effort, it will not only benefit the industry, but also benefit the general public, especially those are like early warning system before the severe flood event. I think that can really save life and also can reduce flood damages. Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Ratna, again.
Thank you.
So, next, I would like to introduce our second panelist, Mr. Ng Hao Wei, graduated from UTM. He is also an alumnus of UTM, same like me. He graduated with a bachelor degree in mechanical engineering in 2001. And since then, he has joined only one company, which is Gamuda Engineering Sdn Bhd. And to date, he has already gathered more than 20 years experience in tunnel construction, including many projects, which such as the Smart Tunnel, the Klang Valley MRT project, Line 1 and Line 2, and the double track project, the Northern section. And besides that, he has also completed several overseas projects, such as the Kaohsiung MRT, Taiwan, and also the Singapore MRT, etc. Mr. Ng is also the key person behind many groundbreaking tunneling technologies, which including the autonomous tunnel boring machine and also the variable density tunnel boring machine. And these are the innovation from our Malaysian engineer and have received many global awards. So we are very proud of that. Currently, Mr. Ng is the Tunnel Deputy Project Director at MRT and also the Executive Director of Gamuda Engineering. It's my pleasure to invite Mr. Ng to join me on screen.
Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Good
Howie.
afternoon,
I
guys.
pass the floor to you.
Thank you, Engineer Dr. Lee. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Howie, and I'm very proud to be with you all today, this afternoon. Forgive me if you hear the thunder. The weather just changed, and it's about to rain. I'll provide you a very brief overview of tunneling in my perspective in Malaysia, and an outlook of the industry, both from my perspective domestically in Malaysia, and also in the region overseas that Gamuda Engineering is currently involved in to secure projects in tunneling. These are the brief topics, content that I will run through with you today, generally Gamuda focused, and some development and innovations that we have had the opportunities to make to contribute to the industries over the past 10 years, and some outlook. For those familiar with IEM journals, I extracted this from an article collated by Engineer Khoo Chi Min and Engineer Dr. Uni Teck Aun, who are both very famous Malaysian engineers involved in tunneling business. Generally in Malaysia, post-independence, we have completed about 37 tunnels, totaling around 300 kilometers since 1901. It may sound a lot, but comparatively to many developed countries, it's actually quite minimal in comparisons. All right, but as we know, by and large, these tunnels were constructed using the so-called conventional methods, such as drill and blast and NATM, called the new Austrian tunneling methods. But nowadays, we like to call these tunnels SCL tunnels instead, shotcrete line tunnels. The first mechanized tunneling using TBM or tunnel boring machines was introduced in 1995 for the Sungai Kelinci Water Transfer Tunnel project. But around at the same time, multiple other projects such as Putra LRT line, Smart Tunnel, Pantai Sewer, and the Pahang Selangor Water Transfer and KVMRT, of course, has utilized mechanized tunneling methods to construct the modern tunnels. The future and under construction tunnels include East Coast Rail Link, Langat 2 projects, MRT 3, hopefully, and the now shelved high-speed rail project are in the cards of the industry, as we know. Myself and Gamuda are very fortunate to be involved in constructing many of these recent tunnels, which I'll highlight a few in the next few slides. Penchala Tunnel along the Sprint Highway at Bukit Kiara is one of the first tunnels built by Gamuda. Although we did construct a 700-meter temporary tunnel during the construction of the Sungai Selangor Dam project, I wasn't involved in this tunnel project, and it was built by a specialist Italian subcontractor, but this would eventually become a milestone for the company in its venture into tunneling construction industry. It is a twin 700-meter long drill and blast tunnels for three-lane motorways. At around the same time in Taiwan, we are also busy constructing a metro tunnel for the Kaohsiung MRT. This project is even more significant for the group, as it was our first metro tunnel, as well as our first TBM tunnels. We used 2 earth pressure balance machines for the job to construct the twin 3.86 kilometer tunnels. Very quickly after that, we embarked on the world-renowned Smart Tunnel project. I was involved in this project myself. Not only was it known to be the world's first dual-purpose tunnel, it was constructed using 2 of the world's largest TBM at the time, excavating a diameter of 13.2 meters. It was also the first project to ever attempt to tunnel in the notorious Kuala Lumpur karstic limestone condition. More importantly, it was the first TBM tunneling project to be self-performed by Gamoda, a Malaysian contractor. Moving on, we built the only tunnels in the electrified double track project for the railway lines from Ipoh to Padang Besar in the year 2008 to 2014. These tunnels were in the mountains of Berapit and Larut in the state of Perak. The Berapit tunnels are twin 3.3 kilometers, were the longest drill and blast rail tunnels in Southeast Asia at the time. Next, we move on to the largest transport infrastructure project that the country has embarked on, the KVMRT Line 1, Kuala Lumpur's first MRT line consisting of 10 kilometers of underground section. A total of 10 TBMs were used concurrently for this project, connecting 7 new underground stations in the heart of the city of Kuala Lumpur. What we are most proud of is the fact that we self-performed 8 of the 10 TBMs, and we invented a new TBM technique along the way and completed the project in time. This would have been the second time tunneling has been attempted on large scale in the Kuala Lumpur limestone geology. As we know, KVMRT Line 1 has been in operation on schedule since mid-2017. These are the images of all the 7 underground stations, each iconic to its location. We are currently completing the KVMRT Line 2, or the Putrajaya Line, underground portions. 10 new underground stations and 13 kilometers of tunnels connecting them. It is on schedule to be opened by January 2023. As we speak today, without the knowledge of most of the city dwellers, all the 12 TBMs have completed the 16 tunneling drives under the city of Kuala Lumpur as we speak today. All of the tunneling has been complete, so we are just completing the system-wide works for the line to be operational by early 2023. Next, I would like to share with you over the decades of tunneling venture by myself and the company. We are very fortunate to be the entity that delivers in the past 10 years more than 50 kilometers of tunnels. We were grateful to be able to bring about positive changes to the local and international tunneling industry. In 2010, we established the world's first contractor-run tunnel training academy, which has since produced about 1,000 graduates who work in our KVMRT projects. In 2019, we were awarded by the British Safety Council the highest safety award internationally for leading the safety culture in our KVMRT project. In 2014, we were recognized by the International Tunneling Association by winning the Innovation of the Year award for inventing the new variable density TBM to tackle the challenge in tunneling in the karstic limestone geology of Kuala Lumpur. In 2019, we won the same award again for bringing about autonomous TBM, a system that we developed to automate the tunneling operations, and we were sharing it with the tunneling industry in 2019. Admittedly, none of this development would have been possible if we did not have the rollout of significant scale of tunneling projects like KVMRT Line 1 and Line 2. Well, looking forward, we are very eager to see the commencement of KVMRT Line 3, which we anticipate to have the equal or larger amount of tunneling works as KVMRT Line 1 and 2, as well as the revival of the high-speed rail if possible, which would consist of several tunnels, one of which would be 8 kilometers long just south of the Kuala Lumpur city. Without more tunneling projects, it is likely that we would lose momentum in the building up of our local talent pool and supply chain that has seen tremendous progress in the last 10 years during KVMRT Line 1 and 2. Longer-term plans, in my opinion, on infrastructure planning should be the priority of the government of the day, should we intend to grow this industry. However, as the private company, we can't rest on our laurels. As a private company, we could not afford to lose the momentum that we have built. We are very eager to bring about our experience gain to the regional market. Hence, we have established our presence in Australia, Singapore, and Taiwan, where huge infrastructure spendings are committed over the next 5 to 10 years, if you can see from the chart. Numerous tunneling infrastructure projects are being aggressively rolled out in these markets, and we are very enthusiastic on our participation there. At the moment, we are already in the midst of tendering for several projects in each of these markets, and we are very hopeful and optimistic that we will be embarking on delivering one of these in the coming years. All in all, onshore or offshore, I myself are greatly positive about the outlook of the industry, and we are eager to hit the road running once we are out of the pandemic, and when we gain a little bit more political stability over the coming months. That's all I have to share today. Hopefully I can answer some interesting questions for you. Back to you, Engineer Dr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Ng, for sharing your valuable experience with us. From the sharing, we have managed to learn some of the tunneling technologies from the beginning with the drill and blast, and after that we have the normal TBM, the tunnel boring machine, and after that we have a more advanced TBM invented by our local engineer, which are the variable density tunnel boring machine and also the autonomous tunnel boring machine. With that, I would like to thank Mr. Ng again for the sharing. So next, we shall move on to the discussion forum. Let me invite our engineer Ratna to back on stage, back on screen.
Hi, Mr. Ng. Hi, Dr. Lee.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, engineer Ratna. Welcome back. Okay, we shall start our discussion, our forum discussion. Maybe the first question to Engineer Ratna. Engineer Ratna, I think our government has put in a lot of effort and spent a lot of allocation on all these flood mitigation project and have done a lot of study on the river basin management and carry out all these projects under JPS. However, frequent flood events still occur, especially in Kelantan, Terengganu, Pahang, and also at Johor, etc. So what are the root causes for this? Can you share with us?
Yeah, sure, Doctor, and the audience. You see, what flood mitigation projects does not eliminate the flooding problem. It just reduces. You see, we have got design limits for all our projects. Like rural area projects, we have design limits for 50 years ARI, whereas in urban area, we have about 100-year ARI. Because this all comes back to costs and everything. And like I said, we are also looking at the non-structural measures in my earlier presentation, whereby like the National Flood Forecasting and Warning System, we can predict 14 days, if I'm not mistaken, we can give 7 days, we can get a forecast of 7 days, and we can give warning dissemination to the targeted group 2 days ahead. So with that, they can actually, it's a concept of living with flood also. We can't be spending all the while and trying to deepen and widen our river because of the limited space also. So it's a way of us working together, and the new project should look into having control at source approach. By having control at source approach, I mean by having ponds. So they should construct these ponds whereby before development and after development, there's no extra flows coming into the existing drains and the monsoon drains, and then it flows into the river system. So by
Oops, I think there are some line problem with Engineer Ratna. While waiting for him to back online, maybe we should move on to the question to Mr. Ng. I think we have a question from our audience asking about the challenges. Maybe I can address to Mr. Ng. Mr. Ng, in the various tunneling project experience, I'm sure you have come across all different types of geological formation. For example, we have Kenny Hill, we have granite, we have limestone. That's how you mentioned in your presentation also. Based on your experience, can you share to us about the challenges and the solution on different ground formation?
Yeah, I think Engineer Dr. Lee, you rightly pointed out one of the main challenge in constructing a tunnel or underground structure. The main things to be concerned about is what geology we're trying to dig a hole in, obviously, because they all behave differently. And other than the cost aspect, the most primary thing that we'll be worried about would be the safety of the public and the workers. Obviously, the first thing that we need to make a decision and analyze and make the right decision is choosing the right methods of construction. As we know, we have multiple various means of constructing it by the conventional methods of drill and blast in the more usually the more competent ground of granite with very minimal weathering, or in a mixed phase condition where it is more unpredictable. We may try to use a mechanized tunneling method. Even mechanized tunneling method, there are various techniques that we can apply, like slurry machines, earth pressure, and etc. So to me, in my own experience, karstic limestones in Kuala Lumpur present very challenging conditions in all of tunneling, only because of its unpredictability of the ground. As we experienced in our past project in SMART and in KVMRT, soil investigations or physical soil investigation from the top will not give us a full picture. Therefore, we have to apply an army of geophysics like resistivity, seismic, and whatnot to give us a better picture of what we are going to encounter from the ground. All right. So to cut it short, I think the main thing, the main challenge is to first identify the construction technique that is best suited for the geology that we're going to encounter, and the limitations on how we can investigate the ground that we're going to do. That would be the main challenge.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ng. Engineer Ratna, welcome back online.
I'm sorry.
Maybe you want to conclude your answer just now?
That's
anything to add?
Anything to add means we have got two, like in Kelantan, we have got two projects that we are constructing big projects, RTB Sungai Kelantan, RTB Sungai Globolo, both with 50 years protection. And normally the flood there is yearly by northeast monsoon from November till February, until February around there. There'll be a lot of downpour, and we can predict 7 days ahead and give warning to the targeted group 2 days before the incident occurs or the flood event occurs. So with that kind of things, we can actually overcome the loss due to flood, even loss of lives or damages to property. With that, I think so we have to also look into how to work, couple it with these non-structural measures. And with all this latest technology and IR 4.0 adoption with digital engineering, we have a live model. So it's about feeding it with a lot of information and upgrading it with AI, artificial intelligence, and big data. I am sure we can. We will be able to reduce the damages due to the impact of flooding.
Thank you, Engineer Ratna. I think Engineer Ratna has clarified one important point, which is every drainage system has a design life or design capacity. Whenever the storm event is more severe than the design, then it is expected to flood due to we need to strike a balance on the cost and also the flood issue. Thank you. So I think I can follow up a second question to Engineer Ratna. It is, okay, I think the Ministry of Water and Environment has already announced its intention to merge all the three water-related agencies, JPS, JPA, and also JPP, under one agency. They call it Jabatan Air Negara. So I believe the industry actually quite receptive to this proposal. We look forward to it. How about you as an interested party? What do you think about it?
Well, this was announced by the Minister Dato Sri Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man on 11th of March this year. I welcome the merging of these three departments, but there's always challenges when you are about to merge three departments on creating the new management structure, etc. It will be a challenge, but I think so. The Secretary General of CASA, Dato Sri Engineer Dr. Zaini Ujang, will succeed in merging these three departments for the good of the nation. It will be good for the nation that we don't work solo, we work inclusively, and to deliver the better water management to the people. That's what it's all about. It's managing water resources and to sustain it for the future generation.
Totally agree with you, Engineer Ratna.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the next question to Mr. Ng is from our engineer Brandon Chok. What are the main challenges for Gamuda or any local company to venture, export our services to overseas?
That's an interesting question, Engineer Dr. Lee. In fact, for anything that we want to export from Malaysia, we have to overcome the perception that we are not from a very developed country, and among ourselves, like Jago Kampung, So it was very important, even though what we did here in KV MRT Line 1, in terms of the scale of the project and the challenge of the doing a tunneling in the geology of limestone is actually on par with what has been done outside of Malaysia. But if you ask me, the main challenge is not the engineering expertise and the know-how. We do have it now. I can say it now after more than 15 years of tunneling. We have a lot of brilliant local engineering expertise. But for us to export our value to overseas, unfortunately, we still have to overcome the perception that we are not good enough. But how do we do that? All right. Therefore, in the past few years, we have exposed ourselves and invited ourselves to all the Oscars of tunneling industry, like the ITAs, all the competitions, conferences. We go and share our expertise, our knowledge, and hopefully, and then we bring about our innovations. And once we are awarded and recognized internationally by the international panelist judges, people start to know us and start to accept that we are able to do the same on the international platform. All right. So especially also on the safety standards and the safety culture, because in the developed countries like Australia, Singapore, and Europe, they're very particular about where we will do our work safely. You would imagine that there are some big nations in construction, but a lot of countries that do not probably feel comfortable with them coming in their country to construct, because they feel that they won't construct it safely. So that's why we went over internationally on an international platform. We invite inspectors to come and inspect us, international inspectors, and we put ourselves on the international platform to be judged among all the best contractors in the world and see where we stand. So all these things helps us to put ourselves in other people's eyes where we stand. Then it helps for us to export our value to other countries. That's my perspective.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Ng. I think, in fact, just in your presentation, you have mentioned about the 2 award winning by our Gamuda. I think that is also something that good publicity for our Malaysian tunneling achievement. Yeah. And next, I think to Engineer Ratna, there's one general question on what is adoption rate of BEAM in Malaysia. I think it refers to the overall, and how to raise the awareness to increase the usage. Engineer Ratna, any suggestion?
Like I was telling Engineer Dr. Lee and to the audience, this is, we have to embrace the change, the IR 4.0, in order to, it's no longer you can work just by with your expertise that you have. You have to have multiple experts in your team in order to deliver something which can make sure that the outcome is achieved based on how fast we can do it, with accuracy of the outcome. So with this, I find that using BEAM and AI and all this, it gives a better output. And for us to understand the job, and for the layman, our superiors, our top management, to understand the what will be the end product. So we cannot do away with it. It's going to be tough. Like I feel that the quantity surveyors that are now using the conventional way of taking off is no longer required with BEAM and all. Just I highlighted. Even the survey, the conventional survey using the ground engineering survey with drone and with LiDAR, and now with all the latest green beam, blue beam, you can actually penetrate water to get the bed level of the river and all that. So all this is going to be a challenge to many people, but they have to start planning and adopt all these latest technologies in order to give the client the best way of the best solution available, and to based on cost and everything, cost, quality, and then time, how fast we can solve the problem. It's all about speed now. If you, like you see just now, I was highlighting Singapore have rolled out the framework for digital engineering and building information modeling 10 years ago, and we had to come out with anything. But JPS have taken the initiative from 2016 already. 2015-16, we have already started introducing all this in order for us to make a more informed decision, and choosing the right solution, and providing the best product to the public in achieving overcoming the flooding and everything, etc. For in JPS aspect. Thanks, Doctor.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Engineer Ratna. Maybe I can add a little bit. I think, in fact, CIDB has already made it a guideline, a requirement for all the project more than 100 million. They need to adopt this BEAM system. And I think in all the mega projects, including MRT Line 1, Line 2, the double track, and most of the big project, the BEAM already is part of the requirement. And I think I have seen in the past maybe 5 years, at least the Malaysian engineer has been getting used to all this latest technology. And I think that is actually quite progressive in terms of the development. Okay, next question to Mr. Ng. In the design stage of tunneling, normally our geotechnical engineer will do some modeling to predict the impact of the tunneling to the above ground structure or the facility. From your actual execution, what is the difference? I mean, what are the accuracy of our engineers' estimate? Are they okay?
Yeah, I think modeling is still modeling. In most cases, they are on the spot. I used to mention that in the tunneling, modeling is more relevant for a soil settlement movement. However, in the karstic limestone conditions, if we have a movement due to the tunneling, it usually results in extreme or drastic movement that leads to a sinkhole. That kind of modeling is not modeled, all right? So we don't include that kind of comparison. So other than that, the standard modeling of the settlement trough to the building damage assessment from the influence zone, the modeling application that is used by our engineers compared to the actual, they are quite on the spot. But however, as per some of our doctorate expertise in-house, modeling is always rubbish in, rubbish out. So the parameters that we use would have to be carefully analyzed before we start the modeling.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Another question to Engineer Ratna. Just now you mentioned about the good concept of having the control the flow discharge by having the detention pond to in the new development. I think you are referring to the MASMA concept. In fact, MASMA 1 was introduced in year 2000, 1 year after you joined JPS. I think you are quite familiar. And then MASMA 2 was introduced in 2012 for urban stormwater management. So in your view, after 20 years implementation, how is it successful? Been adopted in Malaysia?
Okay, from what we have discovered, you see, actually, MASMA is a guideline. It's implementation of the concept of control at source, OSD, and everything comes under the local authority. So what we do, we make it a condition to the developer to make sure to provide all these control at source best management practices, like having a pond or on-site detention storage, underground storage tank, and all that. But it's about upon completion, upon is it being maintained? That's the most important thing. All these have to be inspected from time to time. So these falls under the local authority jurisdiction, because they are the enforcement wing of JPS. But the most important thing is the big ponds, everything now are being maintained by JPS, and we are looking at it is working. And for example, in Kuala Lumpur city center, we have constructed flood mitigation ponds, which holds in total 10.7 million cubic of waters when rain occurs. We divert the flood flow into these ponds, store it, and release it slowly after the river water level drops or subsides. So this is how we get things done, it control at source, and how it helps, because there's no way of us widening the river at Sungai Keleng in city center. All the skyscrapers and all the buildings are by the side already. So the only way is to store this water and release it smart. As Mr. Ng mentioned just now, it's a flood. The flood that we can store. We inside the tunnel is about 1 million cubic meters of 1 million cubic meters of water inside the tunnel itself. It's actually in length is about 9.7, if I'm not mistaken. We have two ponds, the attenuating pond, and the other one is in Kolam Brembang, which holds about 500, and the attenuation pond in Kolam Taman Desa holds about 1.5 million cubic meters of water. So in total, it stores about 3 million cubic meters of water. So all this approach is actually control at source and releasing slowly after the river level subsides. So basically, this is successful. It's successful, but again, for the smaller development areas, the local authorities must play their role in enforcing and making sure the storage that were approved during their planning stage is being maintained. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Engineer Ratna. In fact, I think Smart Tunnel is one of the important projects for three of us, because it is JPS as a client, Gamuda as a contractor, and SSP as a consultant. So three of us also involved in Smart Tunnel.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Ng, there's two questions actually related to AI addressed to you. You mentioned that nowadays with all the 4G, 5Gs, what is your view of the impact of industrial revolution to the construction industry? Is something general. And he followed by another question. He said, will the future engineer supervising the construction site be replaced by AI? No more required. What is your view?
Thanks for the question. It's a very interesting question, and I hold it very close to my heart. To answer the second question first, and the answer is yes. I personally think so. All right. A lot of functions that the engineers are performing today will be replaced by AI in the future, in the very near future, in fact, for the reason that the computer can, the technology nowadays in collating and interpreting data, big data, is already at the level that we can make use of the data and make the computer learn to do the things that the humans are doing at the moment. So I do believe that it is coming, and we are already taking our own first steps in automating many of the processes that we think are the lower fruits to be picked. You know that we are automating a lot of the more routine activities within our construction operations, and we intend and we are desperately trying to expand these AI functions to more part and more activities of our construction. As we know, construction is one of the lowest uptake of AI and automation, and we need to do a lot more in terms of trying to automate this and make construction much more efficient in the future.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ng. I think we all have to be alert on that so that we will be can adapt and improve together with this AI and IR 4.0. Another question to Engineer Na. In the industry, sometimes when the developer want to develop a piece of land, sometimes the engineer face some problem to get the information such as the historical flood data, and because of that, we may have a difficulty to ascertain the 100-year flood level. Do you think with the JPS vision on this industrial revolution, can we put all the data together in, let's say, the GIS platform, and all the historical flood, all the drainage master plan, river basin study, and make it available to the engineers to benefit the industry? Do you think it's workable?
Yes, Doctor. JPS is always will try to facilitate all the consultants in obtaining the necessary data so that they can design something which is actually will produce the right levels, platform levels for your development. So here the top management actually has already set up a new division called Bahagian GIS and Facility. It's now in Putrajaya. Now they have already centralized all this information. We are going to have a huge server there whereby we going to get all these data on this to be centralized, and we also have got a hydrology division in JPS Ampang, in Ampang, whereby they also have digitalized all this information, and you actually can apply for this data online from our website. Okay, they should be able to assist you on this by providing between I think they have got clients cutter within 48 hours or 24 hours. They should give you the information, but there might be missing data and all that. But I am sure there are also other stations nearby which is not in the RHN or the national grid, which you can also ask from them. Okay.
Okay.
If you have any problem, please feel free to contact me.
Wow, very good. Are you talking to all the audience?
Yes. We are here to serve the public. We are here. We are government servants. We are servants.
Thank you, Engineer Ratna. Wow, very good service. Mr. Ng, there's one question for you. I think from your experience in KV MRT Line 1 and Line 2, what can you tell us what are the biggest lessons learned that can be useful for future tunneling project, especially for MRT Line 3? What are the biggest lessons learned?
As from the contractor's point of view, obviously, the biggest lesson learned in for me is that we don't have enough tunneling projects to build a sustainable tunneling industry in our country. We do need to have more major tunneling projects so that not only Gamuda but the whole industry can benefit from it, and it has to be sufficiently overlapping to provide for continuous job opportunities. Otherwise, our talent pool will be lost, and the supply chain won't get the momentum to develop their products to serve the industry. I know that's not an engineering answer, but that's what I have learned in the past 10 years, and what I'm very personally like to see in the coming years, that what we can do and what we can help the policymakers to do, what we can help institutions like IEM to do in developing a tunneling industry, and all the good work that we've done for the past 10, 15 years continue forward for the next 10, 20 or 50 years.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ng. Maybe one more question to Mr. Ng. We know that the cost to construct this tunnel underground section in MRT is about 3 times to 4 times more expensive than above ground. So, despite the cost different, what do you think are the advantages to go underground? What are the advantages?
Yeah, this is actually a very controversial question, just like abortion or topics. But strictly speaking, we cannot deny that doing underground would be more expensive in general than putting it at grade or on a viaduct. But there are other benefits, soft benefits that is very difficult to quantify the benefits. It depends on whose perspective it is from the city planner's perspective, from the government's perspective in terms of generating economy and attractiveness of the city. It can be very valuable compared to the cost that is spent to construct the structure itself. All right. So in my perspective, I cannot give you a conclusive answers to that, but there are several other benefits to it. It is just definitely more visually appealing. It is taking all the dirty stuff away from the people that is living in the city. That is the trend nowadays. We want to see greeneries and parks. We don't want to see roads and cars and trains running on the road, or we don't want to have our office views to be blocked by a concrete beam that is running trains every 2 minutes outside your window. Right. So those kind of things are very beneficial for the city planners. Right. From a construction point of view, is a little bit more expensive, but for the longer term, it may have invaluable benefits to the country and to the city that is building it.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ng. Before we end our webinar today, can I have our 2 panelists to give us the number 1 key takeaway for our audience in line with today's topic? Maybe we start with Engineer Ratna.
So, what I would like to say is that those engineers, those professionals today as our audience, I hope you all start to look into IR 4.0, embrace technology, and then try to see how you can improve your output. Now you have to do changes in your current system in order to be relevant, to stay relevant, and to compete in this era of like Mr. Ng was saying on AI, Engineer Dr. Lee, we cannot run away from it already. We have to be staying relevant in order to compete in this era, and to upskill and to reskill, to expose to the new technology. You have to also look into all these aspects. It's no more engineer or civil engineer, it's digital engineer. You have to have all this knowledge together. Only with that, I think so, you can be a good manager in order to find solutions that coming around or is cropping up. That's all, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you for your advice, Engineer Ratna. Mr.
Ng? If I like to have a takeaway today, there are only 2 points. I think I look forward to the leader of our country to have probably look into the plight of the industries, look into a much bigger and holistic infrastructure planning, if possible, so that we can sustain the development of the industry. but a takeaway for ourselves and for the audience of the engineers. So I think for the past 10, 15 years, with Gamuda and myself and the team, that we are building all these modern tunnels in Malaysia, and the challenge that we have proven that we can demonstrate to the world that we can overcome, and the innovations that we're bringing to the international tunneling industry. We can take away that we can believe in ourselves, that we have what it takes to punch above our weights, all right, and compete and stand up in front of the other so-called expertise anywhere in the corner of the world. So that's what I would like people to believe in.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Ng. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have heard from the sharing from our panelists. With that, I would like to thank our panelists today, Engineer Ratna and Mr. Ng, once again, for sharing your thoughts and knowledge in this Engineer Power Talk. To our audience, thank you very much for attending today's Engineer Power Talk, and also stay until the end of the session. And we look forward to see you at the Engineer Convention in September this year. To our Muslim friend, I wish you Selamat Hari Raya, and to all audience, do stay safe and take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lee.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.